Part 1. The return of Dan Skipper and the impact on the Detroit Lions offensive line. In a move that delighted both fans and teammates alike, the Detroit Lions re-signed veteran offensive lineman Dan Skipper to a one-year contract ahead of the 2025 NFL season. This decision has been met with enthusiasm and anticipation, as Skipper has become a beloved figure in the Lions locker room and a fan favorite due to his reliable play and entertaining moments on the field. Skipper's return strengthens the Lions' offensive line depth, providing experience and versatility in an important position that is often overlooked. This article will explore the significance of Dan Skipper's re-signing and the broader context of the Detroit Lions' offensive line as they prepare for the upcoming season. ### a key depth piece for the Lions' offensive line. The Detroit Lions have seen a significant improvement in their offensive line over the last few seasons, and Dan Skipper's presence plays a vital role in maintaining that growth. Skipper, who first joined the Lions in 2019, had to wait until 2022 before he became a regular part of the lineup. However, despite his limited starting role, he has started 11 games in his career with Detroit. His value to the team goes far beyond the stat sheet. Offensive line play is often about depth and versatility. The Lions have built an offensive line capable of competing with the best in the NFL, but the importance of depth cannot be overstated. Injuries and game-time decisions are constant in the NFL, and having a reliable veteran like Skipper provides flexibility. He can be inserted into various positions across the line, offering much-needed stability when the team faces injuries or has to rotate players. His experience, while not overwhelming in terms of games started, has been invaluable when it comes to filling in as an extra offensive lineman. The role of offensive line depth cannot be stressed enough. Teams rely on the depth of their offensive line, not just for filling in for injuries, but also for maintaining a consistent and dynamic offensive scheme. The Lions' offensive line, which has seen improvements in recent years, is pivotal to the team's success, especially as they continue to develop young talents like quarterback Jared Goff and running back David Montgomery. Skipper's ability to step in as an additional blocker is a major plus, especially when facing high-powered defensive lines or dealing with tough matchups. ### Skipper's popularity and connection with Lions fans. While Dan Skipper's contributions on the field are important, his popularity off the field cannot be underestimated. Skipper's popularity among Lions fans has been something of a phenomenon, with his presence in Detroit becoming a symbol of what it means to be a hard-working, dependable player on and off the field. Skipper's connection with fans was solidified in 2023 during a memorable moment that made headlines across the NFL. In a game against the Dallas Cowboys, a seemingly trivial mistake turned into one of the most entertaining and beloved moments of the season. During a play, the public address announcer mistakenly called Dan Skipper as the eligible player instead of Taylor Decker. The confusion resulted in an eruption of excitement from the crowd at Ford Field, which has since become a signature moment in Lions football lore. The mistake, while humorous, played into Skipper's larger-than-life persona. As a player who didn't always start, Skipper had built a reputation as a fan favorite due to his commitment to the team, his work ethic, and his unassuming nature. Fans rallied around Skipper, and this moment marked the beginning of a fun tradition. Whenever Skipper's number 70, was called as an eligible player in subsequent games, the crowd at Ford Field would erupt in joy, cementing his status as a beloved character in Lions history. Skipper's relationship with the fans goes beyond simple cheers. It's a reflection of the connection between players and the community. Detroit is a city steeped in football tradition, and the fans there expect their players to embody the hard-nosed, gritty attitude that the city is known for. Skipper, despite not always being a starter, personified this spirit. His re-signing means that the Lions will continue to benefit from not only his on-field contributions, but also his role as a cultural touchstone for the team. ### Skipper's role in the Lions' offensive line culture. In addition to his personal connection with fans, Skipper's continued presence is important for the cultural stability of the Lions' offensive line. The team's offensive line has undergone significant improvements in recent seasons, transitioning from one of the league's worst units to a more competent and reliable group. The Lions' offensive line has seen key players, such as Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow, establish themselves as elite players, but the unit as a whole still relies on contributions from depth players like Skipper. One of the most vital aspects of an offensive line is the collective mindset and communication between players. Offensive linemen need to be in sync with one another to protect the quarterback and create running lanes for the backs. Dan Skipper's role as a depth piece, while valuable on the field, also contributes to fostering a strong team culture in the offensive line room. The Lions' offensive line has worked hard to build cohesion, and Skipper's experience and familiarity with the system help maintain that unity. The bond between Skipper and the rest of the offensive line group is invaluable. While Skipper may not be a starting player, his leadership in the locker room and work ethic on the field help provide a foundation for the offensive line's success. The Lions are in the process of developing a long-term, dominant offensive line, and players like Skipper, who embody the culture of grit, professionalism, and accountability, are vital to this process. Part 2. The significance of Dan Skipper's re-signing in the context of the Detroit Lions' 2025 season. As the Detroit Lions head into the 2025 season, the return of Dan Skipper is an important move for the team. While the re-signing may not be the flashiest headline of the offseason, it has long-term implications for the team's success. The Lions are a team that is on the rise in the NFC, and they are looking to build on the progress they made in 2024. With a young, talented roster and a strong coaching staff led by head coach Dan Campbell, the Lions are poised for success. The addition of Skipper, while primarily providing depth on the offensive line, has ripple effects that extend beyond just his role in the trenches. ### stability and leadership in the locker room. One of the most important aspects of Skipper's re-signing is the stability and leadership he brings to the locker room. The Lions are building a team that is centered around tough, blue-collar players who embody the Detroit spirit. Skipper, who has been with the team since 2019, is one of the more experienced players on the roster. While he may not be a star, his consistent presence and leadership in the locker room are vital to the team's growth. In the modern NFL, where roster turnover can often be high, it's important to have players who can provide continuity and leadership through difficult moments. As a veteran in the offensive line room, Skipper helps ensure that the younger players are well-mentored and understand the importance of maintaining a strong work ethic. The Lions' young offensive line talent, including players like Penei Sewell and Jonah Jackson, benefits from Skipper's leadership and experience. The positive atmosphere he helps cultivate in the locker room is one of the unsung elements of the team's potential success in 2025. ### a cultural pillar for the Lions fanbase. The Lions fanbase is one of the most passionate and loyal in the NFL, and Skipper's re-signing is symbolic of the team's commitment to connecting with that fanbase. Fans in Detroit love players who give their all for the team, regardless of whether or not they are starters. Skipper, with his work ethic and likable personality, represents the type of player that the city of Detroit embraces. His popularity is a reflection of the values that the Lions hold dear: hard work, perseverance, and a love for the game. Skipper's bond with the fans is so strong that every time his number is called as an eligible player, the crowd erupts in excitement. This fan tradition has become a fun and unique part of Lions games, making Skipper one of the most memorable players on the roster. This connection between player and fan is a vital aspect of the team's culture, and Skipper's continued presence helps strengthen that bond. The Lions are not just building a competitive team on the field, they are also building a team that has a deep connection with its fan base, and Skipper plays a key role in that effort. ### impact on the offensive line's development. Skipper's re-signing also ensures that the Lions' offensive line will continue to improve as a unit. While Skipper may not be a starter, he plays an essential role as a depth player who can step in when needed. The Lions' offensive line has made great strides in recent years, with players like Decker, Ragnow, and Sewell emerging as key players. Skipper's experience and versatility ensure that the offensive line will continue to perform at a high level, even when injuries or other issues arise. The importance of having depth in the offensive line cannot be overstated. The Lions' ability to protect Jared Goff and create running lanes for Montgomery and the backs will be critical to their success in 2025. Skipper's ability to step in as an extra offensive lineman, especially in short yardage or goal line situations, adds a valuable dimension to the team's offensive schemes. As the Lions continue to develop their offensive game plan under offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, Skipper's experience and adaptability will make him a key player in their efforts to dominate up front. Part 3. Looking ahead to the 2025 season with Dan Skipper. With the re-signing of Dan Skipper, the Detroit Lions are solidifying their roster for the 2025 season. While Skipper may not be a household name across the NFL, his importance to the Lions cannot be underestimated. His depth, leadership, and unique connection with the fans make him a valuable asset as the Lions continue their pursuit of success in the NFC. As the 2025 season approaches, all eyes will be on the Lions as they look to build on their progress from 2024. With a potent offense led by Goff and Montgomery, and a defense that is improving under head coach Campbell, the Lions are poised to make a serious run at the NFC playoffs. Skipper's presence ensures that the offensive line will remain strong, and his bond with the fans will continue to be a source of joy for the Detroit faithful. The return of Skipper is a reminder that, sometimes, it's the unsung heroes who make the biggest difference on and off the field. As fans eagerly await the start of the 2025 season, they can rest easy knowing that Dan Skipper will be back at Ford Field, bringing both stability and excitement to the Lions' offensive line. Whether he's starting or coming off the bench, Skipper's presence will be felt in both the locker room and the stands, making him an integral part of the Lions' journey to success in the NFL. The 2025 season promises to be one filled with hope, as the Lions look to build on the foundation that players like Skipper have helped lay.